broadcast network, AFTERBUZZ TV. Over 20 million weekly downloads in over 150 countries, and your #1 source for after-show entertainment. AFTERBUZZ TV, the destination for TV superfans. Producing aftershows for over 300 of your favorite TV shows, interviewing celebrities and showrunners, and bringing you behind-the-scenes exclusives. All thanks to E! Entertainment's Maria Menounos, producer Kevin Undergaro, and internet leader Akamai. Now, let the buzz begin!
Sing me a song of a lass that is gone.
I will never get over about how much I love this song.
It's great.
It's an amazing song.
It's really amazing.
And it goes perfectly because this was an amazing episode.
Yeah.
Best one I would say maybe so far this second half of the season, because nothing will ever beat the wedding episode. But hello everybody, we are here with your AfterBuzz TV Outlander After Show. This is episode 111, The Devil's Mark. And everybody's been tweeting all over the interwebs throughout the week, hashtag Outlander trial. And man, did we get one this week. I am your host, Keetin Marchi, and I have my lovely co-host here, Marielou. Do you want to introduce yourself?
Hey everyone, I'm Marielou Mandl. Happy to be here. I just actually minutes ago finished watching the episode,
Yes.
and I like trying to pull myself together. Just like, oh my god,
It's a lot. It's a lot. It's a lot.
No, it was really one of my favorite episodes that has been out yet.
It's pretty amazing, and I can't wait to kind of dive more into it. But you know, if people want to be tweeting at you while they're watching this after show, where can they tweet at you?
You can find me on all social media at Marielou Mandl, MARIELOUMANDL, because my name is spelled a little funny.
A little different. And you guys can find me on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and obviously on YouTube to comment and give us a thumbs up and everything for our Outlander After Show. And I'm at Keetin Marchi. That's KEETINMARCHI.
Yes.
Easy enough. So let's dive right into this episode, The Trial. We had a pretty big cliffhanger at the end of last week's episode where we see that Claire and Galus have been captured and thrown into prison, or are going to be thrown into prison, but they're actually thrown in a hole. The traitors.
It was like the thieves.
The thieves hole. The thieves hole. And
I don't ever want to be in a thieves hole.
no, that was a dirty, scary, dark place that that is not really how I imagined it in the book. It just seemed really cavernous and big. It was almost like a cave that they were thrown into with a cage on top. So I thought when I was read it in the book, I thought it was a much smaller kind of area, like maybe just like a little, just a little like a well almost that they were stuck
even smaller than that.
Yeah, just kind of like a deep, like a well,
Okay.
like just a circular like hole that they really couldn't do anything else in. Yeah, but when they first get thrown in this hole, they're kind of at odds. Like they both are blaming each other for why they're in that hole. What did you think about kind of that first interaction of them once they got thrown into the thieves' hole?
Well, obviously Claire is upset. You know, she's like, "What did we get into?" And she's upset because she knows that they've been framed, and upset at the situation. Of course, I would be upset if you and I should never be in a thieves' hole.
No,
because it just wouldn't be fun for anybody. I don't think anybody would be in a good mood and try to figure out how to figure out how to get out of there. But yeah, so it was interesting though, because she confronts Galus.
Yes.
And she's like, she just lays it all out on the table. She's like, listen, he's not coming. And then Galus is like, yeah, I'm not a witch, but yeah. Okay, I guess I poisoned him a little bit at a time.
Yeah. Everybody kind of starts being honest because, I mean, at this point, they really have nothing to lose.
Yeah.
And it's also interesting, all the information about Galus that does come out while they are in this thieves' hole. And especially why her relationship with Dougal is such a big deal. Now, obviously it was a huge deal because they were both cheating on their significant others. She ended up getting pregnant. We're like, what is this connection between these two of all people? Because Dougal obviously likes to get around. And then we find out that Galus is actually a Jacobite supporter, which, what?
Yeah. A lot of what moments in this episode. I feel like I spent most of the episode going like, what? No.
Because, like, the entire time, like, I very much have thought there's a lot more to Gayless than what she's leading on. And so, and seeing the similarities with Claire, and I mean, last in the first part of this, of the series, when we had with our old panel, we always talked about how with Gayless there were a lot of kind of Wizard of Oz references, these red shoes, just kind of these, it was very, very strange, these references. And so I was like, there's something much more about Gayless, and to find out that she's a Jacobite supporter, it's like, wait, but if you're from the future potentially, what I don't understand what the Jacobite thing is and how that is involved. Just a lot of questions answered, but with all the answered questions they gave us, they brought up like 10 more. You know what I mean? So anyway, we see Claire and Gayless kind of talk through all this stuff, and then they go to the trial. And at the trial, neither of them really know anybody. They have nobody supporting them. Everybody that comes forward is a negative witness. There's not one positive witness. And thank God, Mr. Ned Gowan. Mr. Ned Gowan comes to the rescue for Claire. And I guess Gayless too, a little bit. It's weird because I don't think he has much of a relationship with Gayless, yet he wasn't just singling out Claire from the beginning. At the beginning, he was trying, I feel like, to save both of them. Do you agree?
Yeah, I agree. It did confuse me because I was like, I didn't even realize that they knew too much about each other. But he did seem like he was trying to save them both until it turned and he was like, you know what? We're going to lose one of you.
Yeah, it's like you're sorry, Gayless, but it's interesting because in the book you kind of realize how close Claire and Ned's relationship is because they are both English. So like Ned immediately when Claire's traveling with the group of men to collect the rent, Ned is kind of the first guy that kind of makes a connection with her and kind of starts treating her decently. And so it was, we don't get a ton of that from the show, but in the book you really realize how close their relationship is and how much they respect each other, because he respects her as an educated woman and all this stuff. I remember specifically there's this conversation about women being lawyers or practicing law, and Ned had said something to Claire of, if women were allowed to practice law, you'd be a good one. And in Claire's mind, it's like, yeah, well, in my time, we are allowed to practice law. So I liked that this episode allowed us to see how close their relationship really is.
Yeah, and I was really impressed with his ability to lawyer.
Absolutely.
Spinning stories around. I was like, get it, Ned.
I mean, so who did we have as these witnesses that came forward?
Who do we have first? We've got Jeannie Hume.
Jeannie, who is the maid within the house. Yeah.
The helper girl in the house, right.
Who didn't, I thought her and Gayless were helping each other out. I never thought there was ill will between the two. So that was kind of surprising that all of a sudden she comes forward and is like, she's a witch burner and all this crap about her.
And then Ned comes along, he's like, this is just a disgruntled employee. Like, come on.
Yeah.
He's like, you didn't want to be there anyway. You said he farted a lot.
I mean, this crap she had to put, the literal crap she had to put up with. I feel bad for the girl, but I don't think it's worth, killing an innocent woman. Yeah. Although I don't really think Gayless is that innocent. Well, she's not innocent at all, actually.
Yeah.
So. Yeah,
she was causing trouble, but
not that I want Gayless to go by any means, because I think she's a great character and she's so interesting and fascinating, and I only want to know more about her. But I mean, goodness, Gayless, you dug your own grave basically. Right. So and then Ned turned everything back on her, and who else did we have?
We had Robina Donaldson, who was the mother of the child that was in the
changeling child, yes, who we didn't then find out. I mean, and it was kind of this overarching kind of scary thing in that episode of Claire, why are you going? Don't go. So it's kind of cool to see that they brought this back around and we're like, Claire, see, it doesn't matter what you believe. It doesn't matter what Jamie believes. It doesn't matter what Gayless believes. It matters what other people believe who might see you doing this. And it came back to bite her.
Yeah, I feel like with all of these people that came around, it was moments where Claire just was like, forget it, I'm going to do what I want. And I was like, oh, now you're paying for it.
Sometimes Claire just needs to remember the time she's in.
Yes.
But then Ned was able to turn that one around too.
Said, at least your baby is alive and healthy. That dead baby is a fairy baby. Or changeling baby.
Yeah. The dead thing was a changeling, and your baby is with, healthy and with the fairies.
Which, that's nice to think about.
Yeah, and good for Ned. I mean, Ned obviously knows his audience, and he's playing towards the audience. And I mean, the crowd, I don't think there's really one point at all that the crowd maybe even wanted them to survive. It was, they were fighting against a crowd who had already made their decision of what they wanted.
Which is what Claire had mentioned, where she's like, it was just hard to believe that no matter what happened, they just wanted to see them burn.
Yeah.
And for, people in this time, I think this is their entertainment. They're like, sweet, something's happening. They didn't have Netflix.
Yeah. No, absolutely.
They just had witch burnings.
And it's scary. And then we have Leary. I hate her.
Tell us how you feel.
She is the worst. I mean, how do you feel about Leary?
Oh, I can't stand her. Come on, girl. You really, you had said last week, she wasn't even allowed to be with Jamie.
Yeah.
Right?
No.
But she's obsessed.
She's obsessed with him. And it's scary, and I hate it. And you're a creepy. You're a creepy.
What a creeper.
You're a crazy girl.
Yeah.
She's a crazy. So,
yeah, but my favorite of the witnesses was the priest.
Father Bane.
Who came in all dramatic with the lighting and the silhouette. He had a show. He put on a show.
Yeah.
And, I knew, I caught on that this was all fake and it was all to sway the audience.
Yeah.
But I was like, ooh, you dirty mofo.
Hashtag dirty mofo, Father Bane.
Seriously. I was like, oh, look at him, just work the crowd.
Yeah. And it's funny because, when he first started, I was like, whoa. They're really changing it from the book. He's supporting Claire. This is weird.
Oh,
I don't understand why. Wait, are they changing it this much? And then all of a sudden he
turns
it back on them and Father Bane. I mean,
so how does it go in the book?
And God, I can't remember it that much, but as what I remember, Father Bane did not really support her at all. Because he came out and he was just I honestly don't remember, but it wasn't like it happened in the book. I don't even know if Father Bane was a witness in the book, honestly, because I remember the whole episode where Claire saves that child and Father Bane thinks is possessed, but Claire really finds out he's poisoned. That is not in the book at all.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So that was I was very much why, what is the importance of this? Why is this here? And, I think that episode is extremely important to kind of help explain Father Bane's distaste for Claire. So, and you don't really get much of Father Bane in book 1.
Okay.
So, yeah. That's really not in there. So I don't even really remember. Somebody correct me if I'm wrong. I don't think Father Bane is a witness. I mean, maybe he is just because he's the priest, but he doesn't have the connection or the relationship with Claire that he does in the television show.
Okay.
But I really loved the dramatic effect that brought, and I loved the way Father Bane, how we got that smirk from him towards Galus and Claire at the end.
He turns around and he smirks.
And then we got that really cool shot that had both Leary and Father Bane kind of both being ha ha ha.
Yeah. Oh, those fools.
They're crazy. And then we had this other random guy come in and be a witness.
Alistair Duffy, which I was like, why are you here? He didn't quite remind me of anything. So I'm sure he's there and somewhere important, but I was like,
I don't know.
Leary's there.
Yeah, I was like, I don't know who this guy is. I don't know why you're here. So it was definitely very an interesting trial. But Ned, even though Ned was able to kind of turn everything back around, everything that everybody said, except obviously the priest and this other witness dude, and then he throws them into this room. He calls for a recess.
Yes.
And he basically is like, sorry, Galus, but Claire, you need to turn on Galus because I can at least save one of you. And, Claire is conflicted at this point because it was funny, at the beginning of the episode, she was hating Galus. She was blaming Galus for, this whole situation. And then she's told to basically send Galus to the slaughter.
Right. Well, they had a connection that night, the first night after the first day of the trial, where they're talking about, Galus confesses that she's a Jacobite, and she's like, oh, like, I'm trying to make a change. And then, she's like, oh, I'll die. At least I'll die for something. And then Claire's like, well, I just regret that I have only myself to die for. Pointing out, like, you're pregnant, girl. You need to, like, watch yourself and maybe take care of yourself. And that's where I feel Claire the second day is really nurturing in that sense, where, like, she's like, this is a friend, one of the only people she's really been able to connect with, which I was surprised at the confession of
the
her.
1968?
Yeah, I was like, whoa, okay, because if somebody were also from the future, it would have been her. But it just didn't dawn on me. I didn't think too much about it until after they're in that room and they're leaving, and she says, I'm going to an effing barbecue, and we already established that Jamie did not know
what fucking meant.
Yes.
I mean, I feel like I obviously read the books, and so I knew that Galus was of another time because, like, this is kind of when that comes out. But you don't get the date, and you don't get the Jacobite thing. You don't get all of this information in the book at this point. And so I was overwhelmed. I mean, not overwhelmed, but I was loving that, oh my God, they're giving us so much more and so many, like, deeper insights into who Galus is now. Thank God. They're taking advantage of the amazing actress of Lottie Verbeek. She did such a good job. This entire season, she's really done a good job. And I feel like this might be the last, like, episode we see. I don't know. I mean, who knows? But it was so cool to see that stuff start coming out from Galus. And it's funny because I feel like she's known about Claire being... because Galus obviously has a lot more knowledge about, I think, the time travel thing. I think she knew a lot more going into it. Which is something I hope that we get to find out. I don't know from the book or not if we find out, like, how long Galus was. There. Yeah. I don't know. Yeah. So it'll be very interesting because I almost want a Galus POV from when Claire gets there. And, like, I think that would be such an interesting episode of a Galus POV, what she thinks when she first meets Claire, and kind of how she has survived for as long as she's survived, if it's been a long time or not, and how and why she chose to go there. And if... because it sounds like from the conversations that it was her choice. Like, she planned to do this for Jacobite reasons. Like, I don't feel like it was she got there and then figured out, like, heard about the Jacobite thing and was like, ooh, I'm gonna support this. No, I think that was something that she had lots of information about before. So yeah, it's super, super interesting. And the fact that when she even asked Claire, why are you here? Who are you? Claire starts to tell her. And then as they're both getting kind of pulled out, and then when Claire has the opportunity to kind of bury her name in the mud and free herself, she doesn't do it.
Yeah. She's like, I'm sorry, I actually have nothing to say.
Yeah. I mean, it's like, what are you doing, Claire? I don't know. Like, that seemed like a stupid decision to me. Well, it was like, they're either going to kill you both or they're going to kill one of you. I mean, I don't know. Well,
and before that, like, so when Claire's standing, we see a shot of Galus, and Galus is mad. She's like, oh, yeah, you're going to just throw me into the fire. But then she sees that Claire turns down the opportunity. Then Galus stands up. She's like, oh, actually, that's stupid. Like, you are stupid.
Well, and it's super unfair of Galus because it is Galus's fault. Like, Galus is guilty. Like, it's not a question of whether Galus is a witch or not. It's not a question of whether Galus is a murderer or not. She is. All the things that Galus has done, I mean, in that time, in any time, I mean, maybe not now, but, like, it would lead to some serious consequences. I mean, not saying burning at the stake is the right consequence, but, I mean, come on. So I think by taking an innocent woman down, it makes Galus even more of a villain. But so I'm very glad that she chose instead to make a scene and thus help save Claire as Jamie storms into the rescue again.
Mother-loving Jamie Fraser saving the day.
Dun 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 dun. Jamie Fraser. So yeah, it was a crazy episode. We see Galis rip open. Woo!
Now, is that actress actually like the beginnings of pregnant? Because whatever they did to make her look like that was great, unless she's actually.
Yeah, no, I was wondering that too. I was like, how did she do that? I mean, maybe she just like food baby Galis.
Yeah, she went to Chipotle beforehand.
Hey, Lottie, go eat a lot of donuts, a lot of food, and just push out your stomach a lot.
Yeah.
Because I mean, I could do that. I don't know how if she could do that thinking in the whole. I don't know. Maybe it was kind of a prosthetic stomach that they put on her. I could imagine them doing that. But it was super crazy. I mean, just the way they tore her down and carried her away, and then Jamie and Claire. I mean, and to see, that last shot of Galis, literally being screaming and having her head go backwards, and we see her going towards the pole, the burning pole, the maypole, as she calls. This isn't. Well, it's not a maypole, Claire. We see her going towards that, but we don't see her actually burn, and we don't see her actually get tied up. So. And if you caught the one of the judge guys said, she is with child, she is with weight at one point as the crowd is carrying her out. So, maybe the fact that she is pregnant will end up saving her a little bit of time. Yeah. I don't know though, because we don't know. Yeah. We just cut to Claire and Jamie talking in the woods.
Yes. And then now he's nursing her back, and all I could think was now they have his and hers back scars.
That's exactly what I was like, this is really weird. Sick. Yeah. But yeah, his and her back scars, and for once, Jamie is tending to Claire's wounds. Obviously, he's always the one to save the day, and she's the one to tend to the wounds, but now he's doing everything.
Yeah, when she was getting whipped, it was really hard to watch. The way that they shot that, and it was the crowd in the courtroom, and then she's tied up in the side, and you just kind of see her face. It was really beautifully shot and framed. That made it hard to watch. I was somebody in the crowd who was witnessing this happen.
And I think that's shout out to the producers, the director of photography for this and show, the directors. The way that they did kind of shoot this entire episode and did make us feel like we were in that courtroom with everybody else viewing this. I think that was such a smart choice, and it really kind of got us more and more into the trial than I think we could have ever asked for. I really enjoyed it, and I thought it was very, very well done. And I also thought obviously the moment of this confession that Claire has to Jamie, I would argue it is probably the most pivotal, and I know people might be hating on me for this, but I think it's the most pivotal part or thing to happen in book one, because this confession, this is the catalyst to a ton of events that are going to happen in the second part of this series, or this season, and also is kind of the secret that Claire has held on to is what the entire kind of series so far has led up to. And so now that this is out in the open, it's, we had no idea how Jamie was going to react. What was Jamie going to do? And was he going to accept her? And was he going to believe her?
Yeah, I loved watching his face as she, at first when he was like, you got to tell me one thing. Are you a witch? I was like, oh, he's poking fun at her.
Well, because the whole witch question was because she has a smallpox scar vaccine too. Yeah, and
when he brought that up, then I was like, oh, okay, no, he really wants to know. But the way that it was delivered at first, I was like, oh, he's poking fun. And then he's like, no, you have this mark. This is the same mark that Galis had. Yeah. Just tell me, are you a witch? And then she goes into this other thing, and then he says, oh, well, it would have been much easier if you were just a witch.
Well, and I think the sweet thing is that even if she was a witch, he didn't care. Yeah. If she would have been like, yes, Jamie, I'm a witch, and he would have been like, okay, cool, well, just be honest with me, and now I know, and let's move on, because you're my wife, and I promised myself to you. Jamie's loyalty is so hot. Let me just be frank. So yeah.
Oh, speaking of Frank.
Oh no. Well,
look what you did.
I'm so sorry. Yeah, Mr. Frank. But I just seeing those two together, I really, really wonder when they shot this, because obviously they've shot this whole season out of order. I wonder when they shot the scene between the two of them, because it is such an important part in the book and in the entire series of Outlander and in all of the books, because this is the time when Claire can truly be her true self in front of him, and he completely accepts her wholeheartedly as who she is, and also is ready to give her up so that she can go home.
Right, and that is probably the biggest, component to her deciding not to.
You think so?
I think so, is that because she was ready to leave the whole time, but now that she was able to open up to him, and now she's not completely floating in the darkness. Now she has somebody who believes her, maybe not from her time.
Yeah.
Then, it just made her fall more in love with him. And she's like...
Yeah, I mean, I honestly think that decision to stay, because obviously Jamie, and it's so sweet that, first of all, his first reaction is, it'd be a lot easier if you just would have been a witch. And then his second reaction is to bring her to the stones and let her go. And I think it's just... It just shows the type of man that Jamie is, and that, he loves her unconditionally, and he loves her so much that he wants her to be happy. And he thinks what will make her happy is if she gets to go home and go back to her own time. And that's a huge sacrifice for Jamie to do that, because this is his wife, and it's meant so much to him. Being a husband and the vow of marriage that they have. So it was so interesting to me to see how they played this out on screen, and then to see Claire then, go to the stones, and they made the trickery of Outlander and of how they did this episode is that shot of her, because after they said their goodbyes, Jamie says his goodbye to Claire. Jamie walks away. Claire says goodbye to Jamie. Jamie doesn't turn around, and Claire turns back around to stones. You see her in her head, like, okay, I'm gonna make this decision. And then they make us feel like she walks into the stones. Did you think she walked into the stones?
No. Then the show would be over.
How do you know?
I just had a feeling. I was like, oh, they're kind of looking at it, but you wait a few seconds and then we see that she didn't leave. Now, I feel like a lot of her decision to not leave is because when we were at the beginning of the season, she just got back from the war, and now she's trying to reconnect with Frank. And it just wasn't quite right. Like, she was there, and she was trying to make it work, but you could tell that there was a disconnect between the two of them. Now she's found this new guy in this other time, and she's more connected with him because of the scenario or because of, their chemistry or whatever. She's more connected with him than she was with Frank.
I think it's a different type of love. I mean, obviously, like, we see, like, Jamie and Claire, whether you believe in soulmates, whether you believe in fate, whatever, I believe the world of Outlander truly is set in soulmates. And I think that Claire and Jamie are soulmates, and none of that is going to affect the fact that they are meant to be together. But I do truly think that she does truly love Frank. I don't think that love is not there.
No, I agree. I think that she does love Frank. It's just that it wasn't the same as what she has with Jamie.
Well, and I think it wasn't until she realized she'd never see Jamie again, like when he didn't turn around, I think that's when it clicked in her head, like, I can't live without this man. And so she decides to stay. And they're gonna head to. They can't go back to Castle Leoch anymore. They can't go back to because everybody thinks Claire's a witch, and everybody's pissing everybody off. And so they're off to Jamie's home.
Yeah. Well, and before she even goes to the rocks, we got through the whole episode. I was like, are we not gonna have a sexy scene? And then
you can't have an Outlander episode without a sexy scene. And this is what I'm not. I don't really know how to. I'm fine. No, I just.
Really heating up over there?
I mean, this is the thing. If I say what I truly said when I was watching the episode, I think it's inappropriate, and I don't want to say it out loud. So, yeah. And,
I approved.
I mean, I completely approve of it, but I'm not going to say what I called it when I watched the episode. But yes, it was nice to see, again, the woman getting pleasure.
Yeah. I don't know. In my notes, I called it cave orgasm.
Were they in a cave? I don't.
Well, I thought it was a cave at first, and then I realized it was a camp.
Yeah.
So when I wrote it down, it was a cave.
This is what grossed me out. Like the shot, like we're getting like montage of like Claire and Jamie traveling through the woods to go to the stones, whatever. And when we see the shot of Jamie literally gutting a rabbit, and then the next shot, sexy scene. I'm like, dirty fingers, gross.
Yeah,
like gross.
I hope you washed your hands, but you probably didn't.
I mean, I don't know.
Of the time period.
I just think about that time period, and like I'm a little bit of a germaphobe, and I'm like, I don't know if I would have been able to handle all that crap, but you know. Claire seemed to enjoy it, and she's doing okay. Yeah. So I'm not going to worry
afterwards,
about it.
Where she's like, "Oh, I feel a little itchy."
Ew. Okay. Do you want to move into predictions? Did we get everything? Let's move into predictions.
And now, your AfterBuzz TV predictions.
This voice seems stronger today.
The voice is strong with this one.
The voice is strong. It sounds very robust. Robust is not a word. No. Robust today. Anyways, predictions.
Yes. Okay. So I am a firm believer in if you don't see someone die on camera, they didn't. Right. So even though I feel like they were implying that Galis died, we didn't see her burn. Mm-hmm. So I'm hoping to see more. And from what you've been saying, I was like, oh yeah, we're going to see more. It's great. She's read the book. I haven't yet. Mm-hmm. But after this episode, I've more than any other episode actually wanted to go read the book because I was like, what's happening now?
I'm so happy, like as a book reader, that they are diverging from the book in these little ways, because it makes it so much more fun as a fan of Outlander. And I tell you, anybody who loves the show, and even if you don't want it to get spoiled, I implore you, go read the book, because it is like the details and the way that Diana Gabaldon writes. It's just so great, and it's so, if you love these characters on screen, you're gonna love them on the page. And I love the book on tape personally, because I wish I had the name of the woman who does the audio reading. She is so great. She does little voices, and it's really helpful for people who might not know how to pronounce the names, and a lot of the Gaelic or Gallic that is spoken. So it's really, really great. So I will say, please go read the books or go listen to the books on tape, because you'll really enjoy it. Now. You will really enjoy it. Is that all your predictions?
Yeah, I really hope that we get more Galis, because now, knowing that she is also from the future, all I want is to know more about her. Like, I would love.
That's what you want.
That's what I want.
What do you think's going to happen?
I think that she's not dead.
Okay. I am so excited about Lallybrook. The Lallybrook chapters were my favorite part of book one. Like Lallybrook and finding out about Jamie's history, and seeing Claire kind of really, delve into life with Jamie. It's so wonderful, and I cannot wait to see it happen. And I'm going to be very curious to how long they let us be happy in Lallybrook. So it should be interesting, and I hope, but God, how many, we've had 3 episodes so far, so we get 8. So we only have 5 more episodes until this season is done, which like kind of breaks my heart, because the Droughtlander was so terrible and long. But yeah, I think we're gonna get a lot more information than I ever got in book 1 from Lallybrook about Jamie's past. That's gonna help set us up for seasons to come.
Nice.
That's what I think. That's my prediction. So is that all the time? We got everything, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so where can we find you while we wait for the next week's episode?
You can find me on Twitter, Instagram, Periscope at Marielou Mandl.
And you guys can find me on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. Yes, that's what at Keetin Marchi. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure you subscribe to our AfterBuzz TV channel. Keep commenting, keep giving us good reviews, and you guys' love keeps us here. So we love you. Thanks.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AFTERBUZZTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AFTERBUZZ TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.